like to start and just welcome everyone here today for the 10th annual anniversary of the Untold Stories program and the Spring Showcase. So it really is a celebration of all of the writers from past and present. And it should be a very, very nice event tonight. I'm very honored to be here and to share in this space with all of you. As way of introduction, my name is Erica Petty. I am currently the executive director of Lotus Legal Clinic. I've worn some different hats over the years. I've been at Lotus since 2016. So I'm really looking forward to this new role that I have as the executive director and working more in the survivor empowerment program as well, because I was in the legal department for many years. So yes, thank you for coming, and I look forward to this evening. I would like to especially thank our sponsors for tonight. We have Waterstone Bank and MyAd actually too, who the student artists come from. It's a generous donation, and they made this evening possible. I would also like to thank the Stipitches, the family whose house we are enjoying in their beautiful backyard. This is a great evening, so I want to thank you, Missy. Thank you so much. This is really, really beautiful. So, and a great way to honor the writers. Yeah. I also want to thank Liz and Heather, who work at Lotus, for doing all the work behind the scenes over the last couple of days. They've worked really hard to get the food and all of the beverages and all of the other things that I don't think about and they think about, and so thank you both, really appreciate it. And then I'm not going to take up much more time, but I do want to introduce Austin, who all of you know, so it's weird that I'm introducing him, but there may be some people that don't. So he's our esteemed director of survivor empowerment. He runs our humanities-based programming to support, empower, and give space to celebrate the voices of survivors. Working with Austin has taught me the necessity of bearing witness in order to create empathy and understanding, and that empathy is a necessary component to justice. And that is what the annual Untold Stories and Spring Showcase does so well, and I do think that is what makes Lotus unique. So thank you, and I will now have Austin come up. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you on this beautiful afternoon. So, as Erica remarked, this is actually the 10th year anniversary of Untold Stories and the 5-year anniversary for Lotus Legal Clinic. And of course, June is Pride Month, so we just have a lot to celebrate today. It's incredible time. So happy that you're here. So to the poets here tonight, I just wanted to say that you are not only survivors, you are thrivers, you are writers. You are writers of exquisite beauty and powerful truth, so we're all in for a special treat tonight as we hear these poems, which I'll introduce our poets in just a moment. But for those of you who don't know that much about Lotus, let me just say one quick thing about us. Organized by Lotus Legal Clinic to support its mission of survivor empowerment, Untold Stories is an educational, social, and legal justice program that includes hosting writing workshops, poetry readings, art exhibitions, community showcase, and a literary magazine to empower, support, and promote the voices of survivors of sexual trauma and human trafficking. Untold Stories publishes visual and literary art that we hope helps heal survivors, bring awareness, and deepen understanding. It stands for the belief that personal transformation, empathic connection, and catharsis through art are a necessary part of empowering survivors to become agents of systemic change. Without further ado, I have a very special guest with us. Katarina Claus is here, and she's going to come up and say a few words today. Kat is program manager for the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber of Commerce, an accomplished advocate, and was actually a guest facilitator at our last Untold Stories workshop. So welcome, Kat.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. First of all, in person. And second of all, I'm excited for this really warm weather because I'll be honest with everybody, it gave me an excuse to wear a dress, and I tried on my pants this morning, and it was just not happening. So I'm super excited to be here in this lovely evening. Thank you for having me. As also said, my name is Kat, and a lot of people call me an advocate, and that is one of the biggest compliments I can ever have. But at the same time, I wish everybody could be called an advocate, and I'll explain exactly why. I hope that all individuals feel empowered, especially sexual assault survivors, to have a platform to share their story. And that's why I think Untold Stories is so important, and also the work of Lotus. So I went to college in 2012, wanted to be a teacher my whole life, and did everything I should. In 2015, I was sexually assaulted for the second time in my life. I was on a trip for my university. It was the summer. I was so excited to be out on my own. It was the first time as an adult. I was 21, and I was sexually assaulted. I returned to my campus in the fall, and I tried to do everything right. I went to university counseling. I got good grades. I got all A's that semester, and I was also even student government president. So I thought I was doing everything right. And one of the things that I did while in college to heal is I started speaking out about my experiences as a sexual assault survivor. And when that happened in March of 2015, I received a letter from my university threatening me with expulsion if I continued to talk about my experiences as a sexual assault survivor. They said they would suspend me or expel me if I talked to other students, and I could only talk to their approved list. So no friends, nothing, just public safety and this counselor I've never met. As you can imagine, that cut me off when I needed my friends the most. I became depressed and I began to have a problem. And then I realized that this wasn't just happening to me. My university had done this to over 100 students in 10 years. That this was an accepted policy of, sheltering and, shutting up survivors like myself and other students. And so I led a national policy at the age of 21 to change my university's policy, and it even went to court at the Department of Justice. And so I had this amazing opportunity as a survivor to share my story, and people were listening. I was on the front page of the Huffington Post at 21, and I mentioned that because that is the same attention and platform we should be giving to all survivors. That is currently not the way it is. And the most surprising part that came out of my case is this isn't just something my university is doing. This is happening all across the country. Survivors are being silenced. And so I set out to try to change that. In 2017, I wrote a bill, the House Bill 5603 in Michigan, which created an Oversight and Education Act. And what that basically did is it created an oversight office so universities couldn't sweep sexual assault under the rug. This is the same time during the Larry Nassar case, where I had literally 300 women come to me in a year saying this, my university did the same thing. I had men coming to me saying that happened to me as well. I kept hearing me too, me too, me too. And this is during the Me Too era. And that is a beautiful movement that I think did a lot of great things. But that movement was 7 years ago now. And I haven't heard that same kind of support. I think talking and supporting survivors is important, but I feel like a lot of the applause has died down. And so I'm now, I call myself a victim advocate. I work with victims everywhere. And I try to uplift survivors' voices. In Wisconsin, on an average year, 300 new pieces of legislation are introduced to the legislature. 300. The last time anything comprehensive was introduced in the legislature to support sexual assault survivors was 8 years ago. So out of over 5,000 bills, not a single one in the state of Wisconsin, nobody has talked about supporting survivors. And so I'm hoping to help change that. And so that's why I'm so thankful for the important work of Lotus and the things that they do to give survivors a platform. Because not only is it healing for survivors, it also helps prevent problems like mine, and it's also something that is empowering for them. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kat. I appreciate it. Are we ready to hear some poetry? All right. Excited. Okay. Poets, this was totally random, the order of reading tonight. So we're going to start with Jamie Lovely here. And I did want to make everyone aware that this is actually her artwork right here. Very beautiful. And so let's welcome Jamie.
Hi, everyone. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. I'm Jamie, I live in Madison, and I'm a survivor, and I was really glad to participate in the Lotus Survivor Empowerment writing workshop. I'm also a UW Odyssey graduate, and that's sort of sparked in me the desire to create change in my community, and also just a love for writing. Um, so I'm going to start with feminine embodiment, and this is my piece behind me. Um, I'll read the poem, and you guys can think about maybe how it translates. Mine was a corrupted coming of age, closed off from the outside world. In my youth, I was not yet acquainted with the unique sense that perceives and discerns what is sweet, sour, bitter, or salty, presenting himself as wholesome and savory, not stale or spoiled. These two became one flesh, the body politic. Beneath the fragrance of his falsehoods lie the lingering stench of decay. His insides were curdled, ready and waiting for psychological warfare. An inescapable ambivalence occupied and dominated my sensitivities. I grew numb to the natural currents of sensations that flow within me. Putrid anti-femininity. I shed my childhood self in this barren wasteland. My human existence void and dismembered. His interest moved into the night, where his appetite grew for pleasures outside and unknown to me. Reduced to ash, what was left of me was smooth and even, not jarring or jolting. From an uncultivated and uninhabited region, a single layer lies beneath the soil. Bland, mild, fluent in speech, and agreeable in manner. The resin softened and the seed germinated. Warmly benevolent, my young womb expanded. My intense sensitivity and emotional fervor were born. Motherhood granted a natural invitation to render the endless strength within me. Emerged from fire and fermentation with the dormant powers of feminine embodiment. He set out to destroy the purpose in my life, a kind of reproductive assault. He plotted and promised that my mothering days were numbered. Your mother doesn't love you, he'd say, nurturing a false sense of unworthiness in little boys, while injuring a crucial attachment, the bond between a mother and her sons. Their innocence was exploited, and emptiness grew into a void of loneliness I could not fill. Victims of a perpetrator, and later, perpetrators of victims. Maternal depression, stress, and anxiety have weighed heavily on me. I have given all of myself and done all that I can. I am enough. I discovered an ability to sense and heal, inhabiting more of myself with the beauty and wisdom that was already there. Taking pleasure in relativity and gaining the courage to embrace and express what I feel. I revel in the simple, sweet flavor of self-love and respect. Rising from the ruins of abuse, ripening and maturing with the shining warmth of sunrise each day. Filled with hope and happiness, with my heart on my sleeve, I am a rhapsody in bloom. Worthy, wise, willful, feminine, embodied, and empowered. Thank you. The second piece that I'm going to read tonight is called Window Pane. Looking in, what do you see? Does it feel like a mystery? Riding by in a car, do the wounds fester, or are they healed but scarred? Memories play like movies. Our home, round the table with love, that is what I think of. melted butter atop hot pancakes, steeped in syrup. The thoughts come to me as I sit by the bay window. Not fancy like it sounds, but at least the old cranks still turn out the pain on a muggy summer day. It's cold now, the ground covered in fresh snow. Inside, the plants are crowded round, slightly sad and slumped in small pots, leaning into the pain. Longing. I think of the smell of bacon frying on the pan, strong coffee, steaming soft swirls, and cozy and warm. My eyes singe when I enter your room. Knowing I lost you too soon. I remember when we huddled around the table, playing board games, while talking trash, eating popcorn hot off the stove. We piled blankets on the couch and stacked a heap of children across our laps. Keepsakes adorn the old locking mechanisms, and coral curtains still cheerfully frame the pane. Who can know when the last handmade treasure has arrived? And you remember home? Does it feel hot like July or September? Charcoal fired up, citronella, and sticky clothes. No central air. I hope you feel the warm glow of the lamplight inviting you in. I know this life ain't no crystal stair, but I'm still here, and I still care. Sorry, everyone. I probably shouldn't have brought that one. So the next one is a little more cheerful. It's my life post separation from an abusive person. It's called The Morning Commute. I delight in the spring of my step. The leaves of the past dance in the wind. My heart skips a beat with the pace of my feet. Joy, thick as honey, swells. If only in this moment I dwell. The birds are singing for us. Good morning, birds, we sing to them, curving swiftly down around the bend. My heart skips a beat with the petals beneath my feet. Joy, thick as honey, swells. If only in this moment I dwell. I have one final short one. Again, this one more upbeat. I am the great blue heron, poised and waiting in wakeful stance along the shore of life. I gaze at my reflection in still water, the window of my burgeoning soul. I am a lone hunter, hungry for the piquant taste of knowledge. As I stretch my legs, a deeper life can be explored. A greater feast can be enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. So beautiful. Well, next up we have, let's see here, we have Abby Brooks. Let's welcome Abby to the stage.
Hi. Okay. Hi. There it is. Okay, so I'm Abby. I have a few poems here. The first one I'm going to read is Out. I did my best to be cooperative and respectful. Did I do my part speaking, or did I sound too resentful? Outside I saw sunshine, a warm summer day. Hearing a knock on that hotel room door, I was not sure who it could be. Letting them in, I felt invaded. I thought to myself, this could be it. They're here to save me. When instead a search for cash, pulling apart dressers, closets, and my personal belongings without asking how I'm feeling. Withdrawn, worthless, paralyzed. I explained to you that I had nothing, my income had been taken. Caught in the middle of a trauma, left to struggle in silence. Maybe you thought I would prefer it that way. Plus, I'm sure you had much more important things going on that day. It might have been me who was young and impressionable, but his intentions were bold and deeply rooted. This man diluted the confidence and spark I once had. It turned into not one but a few who took me on a train, destination unknown, brought into a life of isolation, deprivation, abuse. I thought to myself, there has got to be a way. And my next poem is called Truth. Too naive to know the power of my voice, when speaking has always been difficult. Is it a history of abuse or a misconception? Pulling together emotions, physical scars, and taking off blinders that have hindered my sight. It is light that comes from ahead. I will take my path, and you will take yours. After a trance of illusions, a cycle has been deferred. Setting lies to the side, lead me to forget who I am, both fearless and kind. Free from the fall, do not call it a rescue, this is redemption. Forgiveness comes from within. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. I appreciate that. Beautiful. All right, next up we have Peter Daniels, who goes by the name Peta, is his artist name. Please welcome Peta to the stage.
First, I want to thank Austin for leading such a safe workshop that helped me on my journey of recovering my voice. In this state, blue pressed upon the waterly line, the ocean horizon. Gray whispered upon the blue, straddled the granite ridge, clawed cat-like down the birch and fir, and sometimes settled upon my stomach to take a nap. Once time flowed down my throat and filled me with rocks and blue and colored my day gray. Day became weeks, and weekly I lay in months of blue and gray, heavy with dread, heavy with the past that is now said to be dead. Instead, I wait to hang this present day on a pole of future past. I dream of hanging. My consequences sail on my watery blue. Today crinkles under the weight of blue and gray. In this state, I wait once again for wings. Broken home. 1. Sometime beside the creek. Summer fingers awaken the day. Summer grass sweeps my dusty ears with the moons we skipped across the way to duck beneath the bramble where the ancient creek lay. Echoing the lowly moaning of the steers, summer fingers awaken the day. Knowing then what I know now, I could not say when the twins probed our bare rears with the moons we skipped across the way. Under the belly where the swollen pillar lay, gripped by one pale hand, gripped by fears, summer fingers awaken the day, and nipples at my mouth stay, a rushing water, blood in my ears, with the moons we skipped across the way. 8-year-old innocence like cracked clay, trapped in the talons of 5 decades of tears. Summer fingers awaken the day, with the moons we skipped across the way. 2. Gathered smoke, broken red. She pecked at smoke like some scavenger, beak probing deep, robbed his vessel of its red, spoke of red petals, while her thorns probed deeper, his will weakened by the sparks, rising to the entwined brambles stuck in their glow, while down below all the moss fell, then swept downstream, screamed into uncertainty, sight unseen. An 8-year-old between the twins, between their teenage breasts, he floated, a leaf in a dream, edges burnt, veins brittle, invisible little. Then he skipped back to the broken home. What the water takes with it. Shaving at the sink, I see stubble and dead skin circling the drain. I remember hearing the rescue squad say they thought I was circling the drain. Memories slash my cheeks like a razor blade. Red drops, mute swans, silent rivulets. Looking into the mirror, I see 7 puppies, 7 possibilities with blood like my blood, my hands beneath the box. I see the long walk to the timbered bridge that stands in homage to mottled snow, icicles sharp from the recent freeze, snow soft with its glittering prisms, water sun-splashed in the gurgling creek, emergent with molecules. I murmured, I shrunk to invisibility, I loosened my final grasp of the box before upending it. 7 puppies became 7 tiny bundles tumbling, 7 tiny breaths choking and bobbing beyond my sight. I murmured of invisible edges, frozen by a while hot blood burned a middle line down my spine. I walked away from what I'd done, wondering what father would order this of his son. What father would I one day become? Don't let me get carried away. Oh, frozen sun, thaw my toxic heart. Let me bob in the breath of my own stream till no longer visible to the stubble and the skin and the warmeling eyes of my 2 sons. Can I impose upon you one I wrote today on the way here? Yes. Heartbeat. The last 2 baby robins left the nest today. Gone. Empty nest. Parents built it atop the motor of the garage door opener. Last year's grass dropped upon the car hood, not noticed till backing up. Accumulations. Cumulus clouds billowed overhead. After the parents brought last year's grass to the white box beneath the rafters, they laid eggs, sat in stillness, heartbeat, heartache. She is miles west. We parted decades ago. He is miles south, flew there days ago, gone, waiting for deployment. Enjoyment, watching the beaks, the thoughts, the eyes opening, the words, the feathers, movement, motion, walking, flight. Now I take what was and make it into what is, and what is listens to itself. There, the rhythm, the breath, the heartbeat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, and well done. Next up, we have Deborah Estrada Carson. Please welcome Deborah up to the mic.
Good evening. Don't cry for me. I bought my little sister a bag of Skittles on my way home. I was shot down, left to die in the streets. Don't cry for me. I have a hoodie made of many colors. I walk the streets of gold. I wanted to learn on a higher level. My life ended as I waited expectantly in the halls of lectures. Don't cry for me. I gained all knowledge from the King of Kings. I smiled at my teacher one winter morn. Then my lifeless body lay on my classroom floor. Don't cry for me. I sit on the lap of Jesus. I went to prayer meeting at Mother Emanuel. I showed kindness to a guest. I was gunned down, kneeling before the Lord. Don't cry for me. I live in a place where fear doesn't exist. Don't cry for me. I can see my Father for eternity. I can hear the heavenly choir. I walk amongst the greats. Don't weep, don't sob, don't shed a tear. Don't cry for me. I know you. I can pick your face in a crowd. I know the number of hairs on your head. I know your real name. I know your thoughts, those pure and sweet, and those full of deceit. I know the desires of your heart. I know what your plans are. I know the meaning of each gesture. I know each time you shed a tear and each time you laugh. I know your habits and flaws. I know all your secrets, those in the past, those in the present, and those yet to come. I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I know every conceivable thing there is to know. You, I know. A great generation. Eat or medicine. Heat or medicine. Shelter or medicine. I must choose. I worked 30 years, never missed a day. I earned my pension. I paid my taxes without fail. I bought a house. I fought at least 3 wars. I honored the flag and pledged my allegiance. I obeyed authority, respecting those in blue. I followed the golden rule. I loved my neighbor. I outlasted Jim Crow. I heard the dreamer. I lived the black power. I saw the dream. They took my pension. They took my insurance. They're trying to take my Social Security and take my freedom too. Now I must choose to live a while longer, to live a little bit longer. I must choose. America. She is a vixen, wooing everyone in her path with beautiful sentiments. Give me your weary, your poor, and your unwanted. She bewitches with the allure of grandeur. Work hard, and wealth can be yours. She's an ageless beauty like Sarah in the Bible. She's a seductress like Delilah too, making promises like all men are created equal, like we have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With a caress, she broke every promise. Yet, like a love-struck suitor, we gaze at her stars and stripes. We pledge to her our allegiance. We protect her honor. She is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And finally, progression. I used to think good triumphs over evil. Liars never win, beauty is within. Then reason grabbed me and yanked me through. I used to think freedom was for the free, love for the lovable, peace for the peaceful. Then openness grabbed me and yanked me through. I used to think black could never be white, up could never be down, right could never be left. Then experience grabbed me and yanked me through. I used to think I had some knowledge, I had some value, I had some substance. I had many words left unspoken. Then humility grabbed me and yanked me through. I discovered I know next to nothing. Right can be wrong. Joy has nothing to do with happiness, and we all live in the gray. Because life grabbed me and yanked me through, I have my measure of faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah, for your allyship and your empathy and your beautiful poems. All right, next up we have Jeannie Suarez del Real. Please welcome Jeannie to the mic.
Well, I'm grateful I wasn't first. I was part of the workshop last year, and this is one of my poems from last year. Some people like to live in the past. Am I close enough? Better? Nonchalantly, she blurts out, some people like to live in the past, like it's some kind of a game. As though I or anyone enjoys being haunted, killing the putrid, rotting corpse of the past over and over, yet it will not stay dead. Whitewashed tombs belch forth dry bones, tormenting spirits flow unhindered through the walls of my mind, filling my nostrils with the acrid stench of blood and fear and lust. Is no place sacred? I am a small, defenseless child in the corner with knees squeezed tight to chest, frozen in the darkness, paralyzed by fear. Reality is challenged. Are monsters really real? Deep, jagged lines, open veins, pour forth anguish, yet without relief. How can I explain self-loathing is like a chaperone guarding the ever-present shame and self-blame, lest I try to shake it loose? How can I convey cringing at the thought of self-love? Repulsion and a black hole of need in a desperate battle at the core. This stronghold like a nightmare when my eyes are closed or not. I inch through narrow halls with spongy, uncertain floors, heart pounding in my ears. Behind creaking doors long ago nailed shut, hide rooms crammed to overflowing with rubbish, long ago banished but not forgot. Thick layers of dust cover sheets, bits of stench and filth fall off as demons of the past rise to be seen and felt and heard. No place to hide. Air clouds with choking memories eclipsing the sun. Once again, the Philistine's icy grip of fear is felt around my heart and in my gut. Remember? Remember! My stepfather, my uncle, his friend, that priest, a superior officer, that man who came home from the bar with my mother, that room full of enlisted men, a stranger, a trusted friend, the coercion of a trusted boss, a doctor, a friend of a friend. Am I nothing more than a notch in some asshole's belt? Who opened the gate and said it's okay? How do they know? Am I a magnet for depraved jackals? Who steals innocence from a child? It's not an adult's to take, and it's not a child's to give. What is mine? Can I say? What is love? Is that love? Trauma with a capital T. is a portal into hell, yet not by desire or choice. Can you judge feet that are slow to survive the desert of devastation burned upon the heart and the mind? Forward is a direction, no matter the speed. I've not arrived, but I'm on my way. Strong and brave, exhausted and confused. A kaleidoscope of tumbling emotions working with new tools toward wholeness and self-worth. Recognizing quicksand before I'm in over my head. Offering genuine comfort and hope to fellow sojourners. Forward is a direction, no matter the speed. I'm a survivor. I have a dream, and I have a story. That was from last year. And like PETA, I had a lot of help. And I was in a writing class this year, and my instructor, Meg, is here. And I got a lot of help from both Meg and Austin on these. Secret Das Macabre. But it does not matter that you have never experienced him that way. Closing your eyes does not change the truth. You know the congenial Dr. Jekyll. I know the toxic Mr. Hyde. I hid the secret of his brutality and my helplessness, his malignance and my coerced collaboration, my unbearable burden of self-betrayal. A toxic childhood left my hands empty to identify danger. No toolbox of self-defense. Instead, I came preloaded with abuse rationalizations and self-castigations firmly in place. Rageful hands around my neck, sheltering my son upon my lap. I feared my toddler would be the only one to witness his mother's death. I could not. I would not allow that to be our legacy to him. I did not know how to defend myself, but with God's strength, I would protect my child. My fingers curled into a weapon and forever changed our warfare. I wish it had not. At least I understood that bruises were abuse. I knew I needed help for a black eye or a broken arm. Bruises traded in for more cerebral manipulation and control. Bullying sans outward proofs. His exploitation, my isolation. His arrogance, my degradation. Erosion creates cavernous canyons over years. He systematically dismantled me, piece by piece. I didn't accept the humiliation of my unbeing all at once. Like a treasured album once full of memories gathered over time, now shredded in his fury. None of the pieces fit together. This is our masterpiece of pain. But your blood bonds prevent you from believing me about your beloved brother, whose gesture charms disguise his calculated harm. It's far more palatable to believe him, the patriarch, a personable pillar of the family, church, and community. I wanted to believe that too, for our children and our happy ever after. You call it a battering ram of malice, a figment of my bitterness. I tell you, this is my witness to relational imprisonment. I hold space with truth to lament my loss, to grieve and not forget the poison I was forced to swallow. I unmask the long hidden dance, not so that you hate him, not so that you take sides. I reveal our dark secret because suffering births meaning and purpose when it holds hand with the gentle partner of healing. Unlearning fear creates a lighthearted dance of freedom. Truth is truth. I will lie for him no more. I have a couple more, they're shorter. Night terror. 3 little bodies fending off the bitter cold in a sagging twin bed. Together, they are safe. Separated, they are prey. Jack Frost thick on the window. Covers off the floor, ensuring no monsters gain access. Too late. The moat's breached. The monsters aren't under the bed, and they are not pretend. Only 8. I was afraid to close my eyes, petrified that the monster would return. He lives here, in the thick darkness when Mama is gone. The tattletale stairs alert me to the invader. They creak and then groan under his weight. I hold my breath, pretending to be asleep, praying he'll slither past my door tonight. He abducts me from my bed, icy cold under my feet, prickly panic in my racing heart, curling into a tight ball, trying to be smaller, invisible. The enormous beast has arms like an octopus. No matter how I squirm, I cannot get away. Suffocating beneath his weight, he is slimy, stinky, sweaty, forceful, pushing the life out of me. My silent screams, unheard, unseen, unknown. Shocked awake, pajamas damp from terror. He hides in the dark corners of my mind. Half a century later, the dream, the reality. Where shards of childhood are swept into a pile. Later, they're stuffed into Pandora's box, secured with a rusty padlock. He got to enjoy his life. I had to endure mine. Creating new paths in the wilderness, I told my sisters who shared my bed. Wedding day. Wedding day, the happiest day in a girl's life. In the bride's room, minutes before the ceremony, my mother is fluffing my veil, doing the mother of the bride thing. And I'm not sure why. She's never been there for me like that. I don't have one childhood picture of us together. Not one. 2 months postpartum, preparing to tie the knot. There is no joy on my 19-year-old face, only fear. I'm desperate for advice. I feel an ominous dread. Tell me you notice the bruises and the sadness, my sadness since being with him. Tell me he's mean and treats me like I'm his property. Tell me that paychecks should pay the bills before buying the booze. Tell me you recognize abuse when you see it because you've lived it. Tell me you want something better for me than that. Tell me it's not too late. I don't have to go through with it. Tell me I won't be alone. You'll stand by me. For heaven's sake, be my parent and protect me. Please, Mama. Last one. Storytelling prescription. Tell your truth. The wound I bear is real. So is my endless quest to heal, to integrate that which is divided. My resilient human spirit will say, brave people recover. They have the courage to rebuild what they have reclaimed from the ashes. I tell you, my job is not to make others comfortable with my pain, but to feel reckless grief quieted, to feel whole, to feel safe, heard, and seen. Indifference is poison, stealing reality from injustice. Scars of the journey are beautiful to behold, reminders of how hard-earned peace was excavated. Dig down, one spoon at a time, one trauma at a time, one baby step at a time. Your role as a listener is equally sacred to that of the storyteller, my own. It is a victory march to throw the liars and the critics' voices in the grave.
Thank you, Jeannie. Well, our last poet artist for the evening is Hannah Lenzo, front row. Welcome, Hannah, to the mic.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to be reading 4 poems. Just want to say a brief word first. Thank you to Austin, and thank you to Lotus and Untold Stories for this opportunity. I got to read at the 2019 showcase, and I'm excited to be doing this again in 2021. So I'll start with some shorter ones. get us warmed up. Okay, this is called addiction. Late last year, I quit drinking. I also gave up fear, and I was thinking that without this vice, I would feel clean, and my body would feel nice. Yeah, that was my dream. But now I'm noticing that all these apps that I use, they get in the way of my focusing, and they taste like digital booze. So it feels like I'm still using. I feel the same drain. And it gets confusing when I don't use the same name. Like, one is addiction, but the other is just distraction. I feel a tension, a friction between movement and inaction. Should I smoke? Should I scroll? Should I joke? Sometimes it takes a toll. And the things I try to fill my void with just make a bigger hole. And this soul of mine I've toyed with needs to heal, to be made whole. Addiction takes a toll. Addiction takes a toll. Another short one here. This is called Not Done with Fire. Sometimes I ask myself, well, Hannah, what do you think of your writing? Seems like a lot of it is rage-inspired. And I resent myself immensely, and I answer myself defensively, like, well, that's just what my inner child's age required. And also, that might just kind of be how my brain is wired. Yes, there is rage in my wires. I write pages of fire. I fill journals with my cageless desire, and at the end I am faded and tired. But I'm also unstuck. I'm unmired. I'm dumb luck, and I'm not done with fire. Let's give them a little longer. Hopefully the attention spans are okay. All right, so this is called Commitments to Myself. Any room or relationship or institution that requires me to abandon myself, I will not stay there. Any place of worship whose leaders endorse or promote human rights violations, I will not pray there. And anyone who plays games with me won't get to stay with me. I'm out if they don't play fair. Where will I go? That's not for anyone but me to know. I'll be gone, but I won't say where. No. Never again will I stay in vibration-lowering situations that drag me down and drain me. No, no, no. I will be smiling with elation, engendering motivation with those who ground me and sustain me. I'm leaning into what feels good. Just moved back to my old neighborhood. Surrounded by my family, my oldest friends, and my favorite foods. Can you blame me? It's the same city. Am I the same me? I'm a lot nicer to myself than I used to be. I'm a new me, so everyone will have to get used to me. And my pain's always been a muse for me. If my pain goes away, I wonder what my muse will be. And I wonder how I'll set my music free, so each song is more than a useless seed. Sometimes I think I need more, but do I use what I receive? Well, I guess that's a commitment I need to make to me, to use the gifts I receive no matter what's at stake for me, to fuse and uplift past the greed, to meet only my needs, to limit the money I make for me. Because if I focus on acquiring wealth, well, that sounds empty and endless and detrimental to my health. So I think that would be a mistake for me. Thanks everyone for all the encouragement. All right, this is my last one, and it's called Part of the Ascension Process. A goddess I know told me that she let her growing pains be and accepted them. She said they were a part of her ascension process, part of growing into herself, so she protected them. She protected these pains because without them, the growth would take longer. She held them. She respected these pains because with them, the growth would be stronger. What happens when we don't respect our own pain? We can't really respect anyone else's, can we? What happens when we neglect our own pain? We can't really neglect our healing, our whole self, can we? What is the cost of the avoidance, the disembodiment, and the self-neglect? How do we nurture our dignity and our health if we torture, ignore, and stigmatize ourselves? What will become of our self-respect? Why do we choose the numbness, the disconnect? And why do we chase others just to avoid ourselves? Why do we chase power? Because we live in a paranoid hell. And the type of transformation I'm seeking, it rests in the energy. It exists beyond speaking. It exists in the quietly knowing ourselves well. It exists in the realm of magic. Cast this metamorphosis with metaphors and spit, you can cast it in a spell. And the magic resides in the knowing ourselves well. And the tragic cannot thrive while we are growing ourselves well. We can be elastic, but not conniving, and the moves might be drastic when I'm the one driving. So maybe it's best if I'm a passenger riding. If the movement is a house, I could be the siding. My role doesn't have to be explosive or exciting. I'll just calmly tend to the fires I'm igniting. And you probably won't catch me on the front lines, but that doesn't mean I'm not fighting. I might be at home writing blunt rhymes, but that doesn't mean that I'm hiding. If you look for me, you'll find me, the grounded and alive me. If you look for me, you'll find me, writing. Thanks, everyone.
Let's give a nice round of applause for all the poets tonight. Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a wonderful audience. I was hoping the writers would humor me and maybe come up here for a photograph, and also we have a bouquet for each one of you if you'd like to take that home as well. So if you feel like taking a photo, come on up here. I also just wanted to say that for me, poetry exists somewhere between a song and a scream, and that a poem is like a secret the heart can't keep. And I just feel so lucky to hear these untold stories. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so brave and for your beautiful words and your witness. So thank you so much. Picture time.
Mm-hmm.